So UFC Fight Night Song versus Simone is going to be coming up this weekend, and these are my super early predictions on the card. I will give my final predictions in a few days time after I have finished all the research, because a couple of these fights I'm not so sure on, and we're just going to need a little bit more time to get into it. But you know how it is. I love this poster as well, by the way. Another thing is, I'm not really going to upload too much videos today, just because I am pretty busy. I've got a couple of tests coming up. I've got a maths test tomorrow, and I've also got a chemistry test and a computer science test the week after that. So I'm going to be pretty busy with study and all that, because I'm a student at the moment, studying engineering. So I probably won't have too many videos coming up this week, but it should be a good time nonetheless. I think it's going to be a good one. Hailey Cowan versus Jamey-Lyn Horth is the first fight listed on Tapology. I think Hailey Cowan wins this. I'm going to have to look into a little bit more. Most people are on the Horth side, which is interesting, but I'm on the Cowan side. I think she's going to be a lot bigger than Jamey-Lyn Horth. Jamey-Lyn Horth is taking this fight on short notice as well. Hailey Cowan is big for 135 pounds. She's a true 135 pounder. She's very well built. Her striking's pretty good. Her wrestling's pretty good. She's very strong in the clinch. Her grappling is questionable. Her submission defense is pretty bad. She's been submitted twice. She was put in some bad positions against Claudia Leite as well. But Jamey-Lyn Horth, I think she's going to be too small. Jamey-Lyn Horth, she's 5-0 with 5 finishes, which is a good look. But I like Cowan here just because of the size and the strength that she's going to be able to overpower Horth. But hey, my pick could change. I just got to look into it a little bit more. We move on. Brian Kelleher taking on Julian Newson. I do pick Brian Kelleher here, but Brian Kelleher is not the kind of guy you bet at minus 210. He's the kind of guy you bet at plus 210. But I think he does beat Julian Newson in this one here. Julian Newson, I mean, for the most part, he's kind of like a boxer, wrestler sort of style. I guess you could kind of say what he does, but he just lost to Sergey Morozov. He didn't look that good against Franny Garcia, but Franny Garcia just lost to Brady Highstand, which I guess the loss hasn't aged too badly, but you know what I mean. And Brian Kelleher, he's fought good guys. You know, he's had a pretty up and down UFC career. He's fought some of the best of the best. He just lost to Mario Batista, but that happens. He just lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, but that happens. But he's beaten Domingo Pilate and Kevin Kroom. He beats this level of competition, and I think he does get it done over Julian Newson. As I said though, Kelleher's not really the kind of guy you bet as a big favourite. You bet him as a big underdog. Yeah, I think this is just one of the fights that he wins. I think he wins by decision. I think he uses his wrestling and top control, and he wins. Stephanie Egger taking on Irina Alekseeva. This is one of my more confident picks of the card. I genuinely do believe that Stephanie Egger will be able to get a submission in this matchup here. Irina Alekseeva will probably want to grapple with Egger, and Egger's going to want to grapple with her. Egger's got a really good judo background as well. Pretty good Brazilian jiu-jitsu based as well. And she submits girls this level. She just submitted Eileen Perez, and now she's getting another fighter that the UFC don't really know about, because she's 4-1. Had fought in Bellator a little bit. It's a weird signing, to be honest, but I guess UFC just kind of wants to sign Russian girls at the moment. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I think Stephanie Egger beats this level of competition, and I think she finishes this level of competition. I actually think she gets a submission in this matchup. She submitted Jessica Rose Clark, and she submitted Eileen Perez. I think she submits Irina Alekseeva as well. We move on. Cody Durden taking on Charles Johnson. I like Charles Johnson in this matchup here. He is a bigger favourite than I expected, but Cody Durden, if he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to kind of fight Cody Durden like Muhammad Mokaev for Charles Johnson, which is constantly wrestle. But Charles Johnson, his takedown defense is very good. His wrestling's very good. His striking is very good as well, in my opinion. I think that he beat Ode Osborne in his last fight, but it was a close one. But you could also argue that he lost to Zalgas, so it is what it is. But man, Charles Johnson fights often. You got to respect the hustle out of this guy, man. He's always fighting, and I like him as a striker. He's a very good striker, and on top of being a very good striker, he's also a pretty good grappler himself if it comes down to it. His takedown defense, as I said, is very good. He showed very good takedown defense against Muhammad Mokaev, because Charles Johnson defended pretty much all of Muhammad Mokaev's takedowns. Mokaev wasn't really able to do anything because he couldn't really take down Charles Johnson. I think Charles Johnson keeps it on the feet. I think he outstrikes Cody Durden. He is the better striker here. I think he beats him probably by decision. I know he did KO Jimmy Flick, but I don't think he gets the KO over Cody Durden. We move on up the card. Natan Levy taking on Pete Rodriguez. This is a somewhat high confidence pick here. I think that Natan Levy will beat Pete Rodriguez. Pete Rodriguez, he just hasn't proven to me that he is UFC level. You know, he looked really good against Mike Jackson, but It's Mike Jackson, and then he lost to JDM, but that happens, dude, because he fought on short notice. Before that, he's just knocking guys out. We haven't really seen this guy out of the first round. All he is a boxer. We don't know if his grappling's any good. Natan Levy might actually test that grappling as well, because Natan Levy, he's kind of got like the karate style. He doesn't mind striking. He just fought Genaro Valdez, which in my opinion is a better version of Pete Rodriguez, who is like a pretty aggressive, high volume boxer. That's what Pete Rodriguez is. It's what Genaro Valdez is as well. I think Natan Levy beat a better version of Pete Rodriguez. I think Natan Levy beats Rodriguez. I think there's winnable matchups for Rodriguez at 170 pounds, but 155, sorry. He's dropping down a weight class. Okay, I just realized. But anyway, I still don't think it matters. I think Natan Levy wins this fight anyway. Julian Erosa taking on Fernando Padilla. I've got Juicy J in this matchup here. Julian Erosa is like a top 25 guy. Fernando Padilla is making his debut. Fernando Padilla hasn't fought in a long time. He's been signed to the UFC since 2021, which is crazy. And as you can see, he was actually meant to fight Sean Soriano in the UFC in 2021, and he pulled out. And he's just been kind of living off that UFC contract, I guess, or just however he's been making money, I don't really know. But here he is. He's going to be making his UFC debut over Julian Erosa about 2 years after he signed initially to the promotion. He's beaten good guys. He's fought good guys, like he lost to Spike Carlisle, which happens. But Juicy J, man, he's a top 25 level guy in the UFC. You know, he just lost to Alex Caceres, who pops in and out of the rankings all the time. Alex Caceres is a top 15 guy in at the UFC. He also just beat Hakeem Dawodu as well, who's a very highly ranked guy. Fernando Padilla has not made his UFC debut yet, and based on what I've seen on the regional scene, I'm just not that convinced that he's going to be able to beat someone like Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa's coming off that KO, which was pretty recent, very recent KO loss for Erosa, but I think that Erosa should be able to win this fight here. Padilla, if he wins, will probably be by submission, but I think Erosa keeps the fight on the feet and wins, man. Martin Buday taking on Jake Collier. I saw someone put a ridiculous amount of money on Jake Collier. I don't see it. I think Martin Buday does win this fight. Martin Buday probably has the most boring heavyweight style you're ever going to see. I think he also lost to Lucas Brzezinski. That loss hasn't aged very well, but Martin Buday has the most boring style you can ever imagine, dude. This is what he does. He clinches his opponent against the cage. And that's it. That is his MMA style. That's what he does. He will clinch his opponents against the cage. And he's going to have success doing that against Jake Collier, because Jake Collier, we learned in his last fight, has absolutely no grappling at heavyweight. And he's got no cardio either. No cardio whatsoever. I think Jake Collier loses this one by decision. Martin Buday just ain't finishing anyone, dude. Not with the style that he fights. Which is just hold his opponents up against the cage. That's it. That's what Buday does, and that's what I think he does to Collier. So there you go. Josh Quinlan is not fighting Angelusa. He's actually fighting Trey Waters, which has not been updated on Tapology, so I'll quickly do it myself here. I like Josh Quinlan in the matchup still. Trey Waters, you know, he was losing to Jalen Fuller before he ended up getting the KO. He does have KO power. He beat Benjamin Bennett, but once again, he was losing to Benjamin Bennett until he got the KO. He just got submitted by Gabriel Bonfim, but we kind of learned that kind of happens because Gabriel Bonfim is an absolute savage. I like Quinlan in the matchup though, but it is worth noting that Trey Waters is going to be a lot taller, and I think he will have a reach advantage. He will, because Trey Waters, I think it's listed at 6'5" on Tapology. Yeah, he probably is about that tall. He is really tall, man. Josh Quinlan's not a short dude himself. He's 6 foot tall, but with KO power, he's saucing. He's saucing proper because he got done by USADA for the Dana White's Contender Series fight, and then on top of that, the bout was rescheduled. Won't tell, but because Josh Quinlan failed a drug test in Nevada, but then they put the event on in the fight on in a event that wasn't in Nevada, so he could still fight. It's really confusing, but all it tells me is Quinlan is well on the sauce, and if he's well on the sauce, he should be able to KO Trey Waters. So yeah, I think Quinlan gets the knockout in this one here. We move on. Unpopular opinion. Underdog off the card, maybe. I don't think I'm picking many underdogs on this card. I'm not. Waldo Cortes-Acosta is one of them. I think Waldo can beat Marcos Rogerio de Lima, man. I genuinely think he can. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's not that well-rounded. He's a boxer, and that's kind of it. That's kind of all he is. He's just a boxer. He doesn't really do anything else. Marcos Rogerio de Lima can mix it up. He can get takedowns and he can control. He's won fights by doing that before. He won over Maurice Green with like 14 minutes of control time. Just took him down, controlled him for the whole round. Every round. And then Andrei Arlovsky submitted him after like knocking him down. But if you rewatch the replay, nothing hit Arlovsky. Arlovsky just KO'd himself pretty much. It was such a weird fight. But Iname Guru made a video on his like clips channel or something about it, and it's interesting. You watch the video, nothing hit Andrei Arlovsky and he got KO'd. It was so strange. I think Cortes-Acosta beats Rogerio de Lima. It's not actually that unpopular of an opinion as I thought, but I think Waldo Cortes-Acosta can beat Rogerio de Lima. I think he's the much better striker. I think he can keep the fight on the feet. He's shown good takedown defense in the past. He just beat Thomas Peterson recently as well. He's a very good prospect. He's staying active. He's hustling. I like to see that. And it's a shame that Junior Tafa lost, because Waldo Cortes-Acosta and Junior Tafa kind of have like a bit of a beef, and it would have been such a fun fight to make, but it is what it is. We move up the card. Cody Brundage taking on Rodolfo Viera. I'm going to go with Rodolfo Viera in this one here by submission, but I think Cody Brundage could be a live underdog for some reason. I know it might sound a little bit strange, but Cody Brundage, to beat Rodolfo Viera, dude, oh my god, just now think about it. Now that I think about it, Cody Brundage has the style to beat Rodolfo Viera. Brundage is a good wrestler with a good wrestling base, and he's going to be the better striker. That's how you beat Rodolfo Viera. I'm going to pick Rodolfo Viera for now. My pick could change. I might actually side to the massive underdog in Cody Brundage, because he's got the style to beat Rodolfo Viera. If it's going to be on the ground, if Rodolfo takes it to the ground, he's got a very good chance of locking up a sub. But Cody Brundage has the wrestling to defend the takedowns off Rodolfo Viera, and he's got pretty good striking as well. I think he's got underrated striking. I think he's a better striker than he's given credit for. He beat Trey Gore by KO. He beat Nadolcha Langwambula after getting smacked up on the feet. Dude, this is a very winnable fight for Brundage, now that I think about it. I'm going with Viera by submission, though. Very winnable fight for Brundage. I think he could be a pretty good underdog, and as a big underdog, too. We move on. Caio Borralho taking on Michal Alekseeva. Very confident pick here in Caio Borralho. By submission as well, by the way, guys. You're probably going to get a very good line on Caio Borralho inside the distance. But the key in this matchup here is Michal Alekseeva is very one-dimensional. He's purely a boxer. That's it. He doesn't really have wrestling. He doesn't really have grappling. Caio Borralho is well-rounded. He's a good kickboxer. But where he thrives is in the jiu-jitsu. He is a jiu-jitsu nerd. He came up with Damian Maia. He's a Damian Maia protege. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty sure he's got a black belt as well. Not entirely sure, but he hasn't been able to get the submission yet in the UFC. But he's not fighting guys that are as one-dimensional as Michal Alekseeva. He's fighting guys that can grapple. I think Caio Borralho can take down Michal Alekseeva and submit it. So I'm going with Borralho by submission inside the distance for this one here for Borralho. You can probably get a pretty good line on that prop there. And now we move on to the main event. You've got Yadong Song taking on Ricky Simone. Hey, I think the odds are closer as well. I think they're like -110 either way now. That it's been Is it 5 rounds? I think it's 5 rounds. It is. I'm going to go with Yadong Song. I was on Ricky Simone originally. My confidence has kind of changed. My pick has flipped. I'm on Yadong Song now. Obviously, this fight was meant to happen this week. It's the time we're recording as a 3-rounder. It's been bumped up to the main event. It makes sense. Both guys have somewhat big names. Both guys are up-and-coming guys. Both guys are ranked pretty highly as well in the division. It just makes sense to make them the main event. I like Song Yadong in this one here by knockout. Yeah, I like Song Yadong by knockout. I think he's a way better striker, and he's been training at Team Alpha Male for a long time as well. His takedown defense will be good. He showed pretty good takedown defense against Corey Sandhagen, but Corey Sandhagen wasn't really shooting for takedowns all the time like he was against Marlon Vera. I like Song Yadong. I think Song Yadong gets the KO. It goes 5 rounds as well. I don't know who you would favour in the 5-rounder, though. That's the thing, because Song Yadong has been 4 rounds before. He fought against Corey Sandhagen. He didn't look very tired. He looked pretty good. We haven't really seen Ricky Simone go 5 rounds yet, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if it does go that long. But I like Song Yadong by KO. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I guess I'll see you in the next video, which will probably be in a couple of days for my predictions.